Okay, we are officially at 8:30 p.m. My name is Ron. I'm an alcoholic. I'd like to welcome you all here. A couple simple announcements that I always forget to do. Most of you are probably aware we have a Facebook page, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group of Doylestown Facebook page. It's really important because not only does it keep you informed with this group, but we like to, anything that's going on in the tri-state area, please post it in there. Keep everybody connected. I always say if you're bored in AA, you're just missing it. Facebook is a very effective way of connecting people, especially alcoholics and all the things that we got going on. Just so you know, that GSO New York can receive private donations. So if you have some extra money you've been saving up or some unfinished amends to the universe, that's a good thing. I know you guys all got the amends finished, but they could probably use your money up there. And what else do we got here real quick? And we have a donation jar in the back. This group does provide a lot of services, and it's all because our members are very generous, and they do contribute to that. The more you contribute, the more we can add. We always have sausages and hot dogs and cronuts and you name it, it's back there. But anyway, if you'd like to get involved, see us after the meeting. There's always a million moving parts to this meeting, and always needs help. Anyway, Nick's going to come up here. Let's have some fun tonight.
Welcome to the Conscious Contact Speaker Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. My name is Nick and I'm an alcoholic. This is a 1-hour speaker meeting that meets every Saturday evening at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, 301 North Main Street at 8:30 p.m. in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Food and fellowship starts at 8 p.m. The business meeting for this group meets every Saturday at 7 p.m. to 7:30 right here. The purpose of this group is to provide a consistent message of hope and recovery through God reliance and service to others through the practice and teaching of the 12 steps. We record all speakers so that others may benefit from the message of recovery. If you wish not to be recorded, simply ask. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. The group would like to welcome everyone, especially newcomers. Is there anyone new or from out of town that would like to introduce themselves with their first name? Yes, sir.
My name is Jay. I'm an alcoholic. My first time at this meeting.
Welcome, Jay.
Welcome. My name is Kelly. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Kelly. Welcome.
Amy, alcoholic from Hackertown.
Welcome.
Melita, alcoholic.
Welcome. Yes, sir.
Ryan, alcoholic.
Hey, Ryan. Welcome. Gentlemen.
Mike, alcoholic.
Brian, alcoholic.
Hey, Brian. Yes, sir.
Jeremy, alcoholic.
Hey, Jeremy. Welcome. Yes, sir.
Chris, alcoholic.
Hi, Chris. Welcome. All right. Welcome to everybody. The Conscious Contact Speaker Group encourages sponsorship. Would anyone with working knowledge of the 12 steps and is willing to sponsor, please raise your hands. Excellent. Are there any announcements for the good of AA? I have one announcement. My name is Nick. I'm an alcoholic, and there's an alcothon in Telford at the One Day at a Time meeting. It's a Sunday night meeting, 8:30, but it's a Thursday all-day event. Starts at 9 a.m., goes until 1 o'clock. They have a lunch, turkey. If you want to bring a side dish, that's great. And then it goes until about 9 o'clock at night. So if you want information on that, come see me after the meeting. It's an all-day event on Thanksgiving.
I have an announcement.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Amy. I'm an alcoholic. I can forward this text to anybody. I'm just going to read what they posted in the meeting. The Great Grapevine Committee of Greater Philadelphia presents Sobriety What a Gift, Saturday, December 11th, from 12 to 3 Eastern Time, and it's on Zoom.
Thank you.
But then it also says here, Thanksgiving Day, the Hope Group Online is hosting a 3-speaker meeting co-organized with Women's Hope on Thanksgiving Day. There's a meeting at 10, 12:30, and at 4 Eastern Time. Also on Zoom. So anybody interested in seeing me, I'll forward to. Thank you.
Okay. We have meeting lists and big books on easy terms. Please see me or any home group member after the meeting. If you cannot afford a big book, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group will give you one at no charge. Anyone willing to make donations for the purchase of big book and CDs to help those who can't afford them can put donations in a jar on the table marked Big Book and CD donations. If you'd like a CD of any speaker, past or present, please see me or any home group member before or after the meeting, and they're available free of charge. And now with that, we have Sherry to come up and read the AA preamble.
Hi, I'm Sherry, I'm an alcoholic.
The AA Preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We're self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety. I've asked Kara to come and read the AA 12 Steps of Recovery.
And that's why we keep coming back, right, y'all? Or just, anyway, it feels so good to be here. Hello, my name is Kara. I'm an alcoholic. Hello, everybody. I'm going to read the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Number 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Number 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Number 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Number 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Number 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Number 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Number 7, humbly asked Him to remove all shortcomings. Number 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. Number 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when injure them or others. Number 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Number 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Number 12, having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. I'm going to give it back to Nick.
We have a Southern tradition which states every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting and declining outside contributions. At this time, I'd like to pass the baskets. We have no dues or fees, but we do have expenses. This group provides many services, and your donations cover rent, big book, CDs, events, and workshops. Just a couple of quick announcements. There is absolutely no smoking on church property. If you're going to smoke out here, go across the street. If you're going to smoke out front, go out to the street also. Thank you so much, and please dispose of your butts. And if you could try to stay out of the kitchen as well, that'd be really helpful. And we're instructed to use these bathrooms over here now. They want to keep these bathrooms nice and clean for the church services on Sunday, so we can use the bathrooms in the back over here. So thank you very much. Please take a moment to silence all cell phones and limit movement during the meeting to avoid distractions. And now to introduce our speaker, a good friend of the Conscious Contact Group, we have Josh A. from Oklahoma.
My name is Josh. I'm alcoholic. My sobriety date is July 24, 2009. My home group is the Gaunt Prospector Speaker Group. We're an online-only Sunday night speaker meeting at 7 p.m. Central. And it's good to be back. Ron, thanks for getting me on the schedule. And Joe, thanks for helping me get here traveling down. And I don't know if Sook is here. I don't see him. But that guy drove all the way from Lansdale. Is that a town? Lansdale all the way to Wilkes-Barre to take me up to bring me here, and he's going to take me back to Wilkes-Barre after this meeting and then come back to Lansdale. So I really appreciate that. I think it's about 360 miles driving just so I could come and share with you tonight. It means a lot. And my other friends, Shannon, Trent, Chris, Kevin. It's good to be back, man. I got to give one of the last talks I got to give before COVID was here. I think it was January 2020. Does that sound right? I think so. Anyway, it's good to be back. Doylestown Part 2. I don't really have a game plan. I think last time I was here I shared my story and MS and the amends, and it was pretty good, I'm sure. But tonight I tell you I'm an alcoholic. And, when I came to AA, I said I was an alcoholic also, but I didn't know what that meant. Right? I say I'm an alcoholic because the guy next to me says he's an alcoholic, and I want to fit in and I want to be a part of. And, and I was here a while, and I was saying that, in meetings. I'm Josh, alcoholic. And, I don't think I even knew what it meant to be alcoholic. And I don't know if there's anybody new here tonight or early in sobriety that might be wondering that. What is alcoholism? What's it mean to be alcoholic? In our book, Dr. Silkworth in the Doctor's Opinion, something I love to talk about is there's a paragraph there where he describes his view of us. And he's a non-alcoholic, right? He's a professional, he's a doctor. This is his view of what he sees when he looks at people like us. He says that men and women drink essentially because they like the effect produced by alcohol. Right? So I drink for how it makes me feel. It says the sensation is so elusive, which means I'm chasing it. While I admit it's injurious, it's caused me a lot of pain and problems. They cannot, after a time, differentiate the true from the false. To them, their alcoholic life seems the only normal one. It's amazing to me how the lifestyle becomes a reality after a while. I start off as a young man, as a teenager, as probably early in my 20s with some values and goals, and I've got kind of some dreams and stuff I might like to accomplish, and I got another list of stuff I'm never going to do, ever. And as this thing progresses in me, we just start checking the list off, right? The first time my water got cut off when I had children. I feel like the biggest piece of white trash there is. At the end of this thing, who cares? Hell, neighbor goes to work at 8 a.m. Let's run a hose over there and get a couple of buckets. It's normal, right? It's amazing to me the stuff that I can tell myself is okay, or if I can just ignore it, or if it's just subtly becomes part of my life. Where I'm unfaithful to the women I'm with, and I'm violent to people, and I steal, and I vandalize, and I hurt people, and I go to jail. And I come to Alcoholics Anonymous not a good person. People are saying, well, you're not a bad person trying to get good. You're just a sick person trying to get well. And I'm a bad person, man. I come here as not a good person. I'm violent. I'm mean. I hurt people. Anybody that gets close to me, I hurt them. It's just what I do. And then Silkworth in that same paragraph, he describes us in between drinks. Right? Like sober, like abstinent. He says that we become restless, irritable, and discontented. Right? Restless is what? Unable to rest or relax as a result of anxiety or boredom. That is me, sober, right? My head won't turn off. I don't know how to rest. What I'm saying? I've been passing out, staying up for 10 years when I come to AA. I don't know nothing about going to bed at 10 p.m., getting up at 5 a.m., going to work or something. I don't know nothing about that. I'm restless. My mind just won't quit. He says we're irritable, we're easily annoyed or made angry. I come to AA, everybody's tiptoeing around me. They don't know what's coming, right? I'm the guy that throws the toaster through your kitchen window. You're like, what the hell is you? I'm mad. God, almost said it. I'm mad, damn it, get away from me. I just freak out. It's like I'm about to explode sober. I'm just not, I've got the weight of the world. Our book talks about, we have so many problems, we despair of ever solving them. Least of all looks like drinking. You know what I'm saying? I get here, I went to jail twice the last 3 days of drink. I got water bill problems, gas bill problems. I got mortgage company problems. I got a wife, got a couple of girlfriends. I come here, I think everybody's kids are on the angle tree. I think everybody's on food stamps. I think everybody's coming down to the church, getting some canned goods, school supplies, school clothes for the kids. This is normal. This is my life. Just a taker. What's mine is mine, and what's yours I'm going to try to get, kind of deal. The saddest stories I tell my mom, I had a slow week at work. It rained a lot. I work outside. I'm trying to get an angle on everybody just to be able to maintain enough capital to stay as messed up as I can for as long as I can. And everything's just falling apart. He says that we're discontented. which means I'm dissatisfied with my circumstance. I don't know anybody that comes to AA that's not dissatisfied with their circumstance. I didn't come in on a winning streak, you know what I'm saying? I usually say it. I'll say it. I didn't spend the weekend with... No, I won't say it. Yeah. Life was bad when I come in, right? No friendly direction, as Bill talks about. And I don't know where to start. You know, when I think of our book with alcoholism, you know, I guess it'd be like the third to last page there in the doctor's opinion on the left, where he goes through like the 5 personality traits. You know, the psychopath, the manic depressive, the normal guy, which I think they just had to put that in there for somebody. I don't know who, but maybe Ron. I don't know. But, you know, and all these different, you know, kind of views of alcoholism, these descriptions of these different drinkers and their personality traits. You know, it doesn't really matter what my personality trait is. My ego says my case is different and you wouldn't understand. Right? You didn't have my childhood. You weren't married to her. You don't know my dad. You didn't work for them. You don't know what happened to me. You don't know about the sex stuff. You don't know about the abuse. You don't understand. You're not white or black or girl or man or whatever the ego tells us to separate us, right? But Silkworth brings us all together under one umbrella there in that reading. You know, he says, all these and many others have one symptom in common. They cannot start drinking without developing the phenomenon of craving. If you got that, if when you take a drink you get thirsty and you want more, you're alcoholic, which is good news. And if that doesn't happen to you, you're not alcoholic, which is equally important news to know about yourself. And I love that idea that it doesn't matter what else we got going on in the world, what our backgrounds are, religions, race, any of that. You know, there's nothing to argue about in Alcoholics Anonymous about those things. If you got this one thing, you can stay. And if you don't, then you can come to the open speaker meeting and stuff, but you don't need to come here. Same for you. You know? You know, I think about the stuff he describes when he talks about this allergy, this phenomenon of craving. You know, an allergy is an abnormal reaction to something that most people have a normal reaction to. You know, I've heard the scientists talk about 90% of the Earth's population is not an alcoholic. But 10% have the potential to become alcoholic. And so what that really means, in kind of a weird way, which would be kind of hard for us to probably comprehend, is as alcoholics, we get addicted to a non-addictive substance, which is abnormal, which is kind of weird when you think about it. But I'm damn sure addicted to it, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand the way people that aren't alcoholic drink, and they don't understand how I drink. I don't get it. And we all have people in our families, maybe our spouses or friends that can drink, and they're cool. I cannot. You know, I take a drink and I'm gone for a while. You know, I burn it all to the ground and I wake up and I hate myself and I want to die. And I got to get numb and forget and go somewhere else in my mind and I got to do it again. And it just holds me in this prison of my mind. I'm drinking because of my drinking. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've never been the problem drinker. Alcohol's always been my solution, my answer to my mind. Sobriety has always been the problem. Abstinence is very painful for a guy like me. I am not free. You know, I come to AA meetings and I hear people say stuff like, just don't drink, you'll be okay. Don't drink and go to lots of meetings, you'll be okay. That is not my story at all. I am far from okay in my mind sober. In fact, I am way worse abstinent from alcohol, unrecovered, than I ever was when I drank. I think alcohol saved my life, to be honest with you. I think I would have probably committed suicide as a teenager if I never found alcohol. I mean, it helped me for a long time, be able to take just enough edge off my consequence, my life, my circumstance, to be able to get through it without blowing my head off. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but it does something for me. There's a reason I drink. You know, Silkworth talks about that I come apart from the scene sober unless I can again experience a sense of ease and comfort which comes at once by taking a few drinks. You know, when I'm sober and I'm going crazy in my mind and I take off for the liquor store, I feel a little better already. I know where I'm going. And I pull up in the driveway of that sucker, and already there's a physical change coming over me. I grab the jug, I put it on the counter. It's fixing to be okay. I get it out to the truck, I take a big swig off it, and I mean immediately, like I can breathe all the way down. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not enough, that's a start. But give me another one. Alcohol does something for me. I heard Clancy say one time that the 12 steps do for us slowly what a drink does for us quickly. It changes our perception of reality where we're okay. And I believe that to be true. I'm an alcoholic. I always overshoot the mark. I always drink till there's nothing left, or I'm sick or passed out or in jail or whatever. But it does something for me. I'm not the cat that's like, well, alcohol just quit working for me. I always want to ask that guy, like, why the hell do you drink? I mean, seriously. The consequences are bad. I got a hell of a tolerance, but I get that. It does something. It calms me almost. But the problem is I make a mess. And everybody's mad at me, and I hate myself. And it just keeps me in this prison in my mind. And abstinence doesn't fix this. In our big book, it talks about, it pretty much talks about allergy phenomena, craving up to page 23. There on the, on the right there, halfway through the middle of that first paragraph, where it talks about that the main problem in the alcoholic centers in the mind rather than in the body. And so when you think about what is alcoholism, what does it mean to be alcoholic? So I've got this thing that happens when I take a drink, I get thirsty and want more. I'll slap my mom for some more. I can't turn it off. If you make me pick between you and that, I can't pick you. I don't care how much I love you or care about you. It don't matter. It's not your fault. I just can't pick you, right? So I've got this thing that I can't turn off when I start. This physical allergy. And see, after 3 days of abstinence, that's completely out of play. If you're past day 3 of sobriety, you never have to worry about phenomena of craving or allergy ever again the rest of your entire life. It's out of play. Unless you take a drink, you will never have to worry about that. Half that problem's out of the equation. But the problem is that my mind takes my body back to the drink. In Doctor's Opinion, where he talks about this desire stuff, easily able to control his desire for alcohol. Because I come to AA, I hear people say stuff like, you drink because you crave alcohol. People 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, I had a craving. Where are these cravings going to go away? I was watching a beer commercial, boy, the craving. In the context of Silk Horse Riding, that is not how that works. If I got drunk tonight, it's not because I saw a beer commercial and started craving alcohol. Not in the context of that man's writing. In fact, I don't even get craving unless I take a drink. You know what I'm saying? So the mind takes the body back, and when the body gets a drink in it, the drink takes the body, and I'm gone. So when we talk about being a recovered alcoholic or recovering from alcoholism, what's that look like? I've got a body that can't tolerate alcohol, and I've got a mind that can't tolerate reality, sober. And where the hell do you go from there? You know what I'm saying? I hope you know what I'm saying. Thanks for nodding your head. It makes it a lot easier when people are kind of, even if you don't agree, be like, hey, you're doing good. So we got this allergy of the body, the obsession of the mind. And I think tonight the direction I feel led to go is, our book talks about this thing called the spiritual malady in the 4th step. It says, when the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. So I get the spirit right. I believe you can be in the best possible mental and physical condition that's available to you after all the damage. I think you can be free. And I'd like to talk a little bit about how does that happen? It sounds good, right? It sounds real good. I'm a guy that believes in a first step experience with our book. Bill spends almost 50 pages on step 1 in our book. I'm not you did the first 3 steps in the parking lot, let's start you on inventory kind of guy. Or flip to 44 and ask the 2 questions kind of guy. I believe in our process. I believe in chapter 7, the interviewing process, and to get in the background. And when I'm satisfied, then let's make an appointment and get to work. I like the title page. It ain't got much on it, but when we get through it, there's going to have a lot of stuff on it. I love talking about meeting etiquette and 3 legacies, and we have a vested interest here for the children and our grandkids and the people not yet born. What kind of AA are they going to walk into? I love that stuff. I love the preface and the forwards. Doctor's opinion. I don't have any idea which direction I'm going here. I can take a dive off any direction really here, but I believe in the first step experience in our book. I think that not somebody else says you're an alcoholic, not I think you're an alcoholic, your spouse or your parent or the boss. I think everybody deserves their own first step experience where they can see that for themselves one way or another. It's not a bad thing if you're not an alcoholic at all. You just don't need to come here if you're not alcoholic. I love our second step process in chapter 4 in our book, We Agnostics. I love that whole, it's my favorite chapter by far, probably. It's the most spiritual chapter we got. It talks about there, I guess the second page there on 45, where it says, it really tells me what my deficiency is and really what I got to find to get free. In step 1, we admit powerlessness and unmanageability. In step 2, we got to find the power, right? Our book says lack of power, that was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves. Obviously, where and how we define this power. Well, that's exactly what this book is about, right? My sponsor gave me an assignment on page 47 that changed my life. It talks about, do not let any prejudice you may have against spiritual terms deter you from honestly asking yourself what they mean to you. And it's kind of one of those assignments where that's what the book just said, and my sponsor's like, we're going to do that. We're going to do what it said. There's so many assignments he showed me in there, I didn't even see them. Like, that is what it says. And I prayerfully made a list of spiritual terms. Jesus, Hanukkah, Allah, Buddha, Christmas, Easter, whatever. And then I wrote out, like it says, I wrote out what those terms meant to me. Got it all done, called him up, hey dude, got it done? You want me to read it to you? And he said, no. And I said, why? He said, this assignment's for you, it's not for me. And he said something that changed my life. He said, now we can both agree 100% without a shadow of a doubt that everything you've ever thought about God or Jesus or Spirit or religion in your entire life up to this very second is an old idea. And he said, what we're looking for here is a new experience with the Spirit that's going to change your life. He said, if anything you already knew was working for you, you wouldn't be talking to me. And when he told me that, he knocked down every wall I had up. I couldn't argue with any of that. It was true. And he said, now, this isn't blasphemy. Anything that you believe, if it's true, it'll still be true on the other side of this assignment. We have to agree that's a true statement. And probably for the first time in my life, I got to actually have a beginning and a starting point somewhere when it comes to spirit. From that, because he was right. He was absolutely right there. He gave me an assignment on the bedevilments, and we read the whole thing. I love this stuff on page 55 in our book about, where it says, deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. May be obscured by calamity, which is like tragedy or disaster, by pomp, which is the ego, or worship of other things, but in some form or other it is there. Talks about the miracles that come from that stuff. This stuff changed my life. That paragraph on 45 where it says lack of power, where and how are we going to find this power? On 55 it tells us where it is. It says it's here. Deep down within, in the last analysis, it's only there He may be found. It was so with us. So this higher power, this God, or whatever you want to call it, I've been looking for my whole life. I thought He's in the clouds keeping score, and I go to church and they talk about Him up there, and they talk to Him and they look at the floor. Hell, they don't know where He is either, right? And I'm confused with that stuff. Whenever I really read that and saw what it was saying to me, the search was over. I didn't have to wonder where this was at, if it was deep down within me. And that's just academic, right? That's just some awareness or some knowledge. But I think that starts kind of there, right? The third step stuff changed my life. The ABC stuff, a lot of groups read how it works, read the ABCs, and I always ask people, is that you? A, that we're alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. and see that God could and would if He were sought. And I say, is that you? Does that describe you? Most people say, yeah, that to a T, that's me. And if we can agree with that, what we're really saying is we're beyond all human aid. I need a sponsor, he can't save me. I love home group, love pastor, love church, love my wife, love my family. They can't save me. If I'm beyond all human aid, if I'm the guy that described in this book, the real alcoholic, the doomed alcoholic, this hopeless case guy, if that's me, and my only hope's a spiritual experience, that God's going to come into my life in a way and change me from the inside out into something different, if that's me, then the rest of this process is life and death for a guy like me. There's no other way. I'm beyond human aid. I love my family. I'm the guy in the bar telling you how much I love my children. I love my kids as I drinking up the water bill. Right? My actions don't support that statement at all. The third step stuff changed my life. Because, again, we're talking about alcoholism, or what is this thing? What's it mean to be alcoholic? If you're an alcoholic and you take alcohol out of the alcoholic equation, you've taken a symptom of the problem off the table. But you haven't treated the root of the trouble. Our third step in our book on 62 tells us what the root is. Right? Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles, right? Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, self-pity. It goes down through there. It says my problems are of my own making. I make decisions based on self, and people hurt me, what I think unprovoked. But I make these selfish choices, and I come over here and I get hurt. And I don't look what happened here and here and here and here. I just go back 2 steps and say, see there, I'm a victim. Look what they're doing to me. Let me tell you what they've done to me. Right? I don't see I set the whole thing over here. Set the whole ball rolling. In that reading there, it says, so our problems we think are based on our own making. They arise out of ourselves. And the alcoholic's an extreme example of self-will run riot, though he usually doesn't think so. And it says, above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of this selfishness. We must, or it kills us. It doesn't say booze is going to take me out. It says selfishness is going to kill my ass, is what it says. I'm a guy that hung myself in my shed, 10 months sober in Alcoholics Anonymous. Went to home group on a Friday night, bought a 30-pack on a Sunday night, and threw a loop over the shed, the truss there. And I wrapped it up, made a little loop, and I put it around my throat, and I got on a chair. And I said, F the world, and kicked the chair. I'm choking, hanging from a rope in my shed from the rafter. 10 months sober in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I come in here and you guys are telling me, we're in no matter what club, brother. We don't drink or use no matter what. We're meeting makers making around here. Service keep you sober. We're all these little one-liners. We're zinging at my head. And see, I'm trying to do what you guys are telling me, and I'm not well. I'm not okay. I'm trying to pretend to be okay. I want you to think I'm okay. I'm not well in here. I learned the lingo. I start repeating the shit Ron said. Everybody laughed at Ron's jokes. So I'm repeating it across town, and I'm not getting any better. And you guys appear to be laughing and free and all this stuff, and I wonder what the hell's wrong with me. I'm drinking the same coffee you are. I'm there before you, and I'm staying after the meeting, and I'm not free in my mind. What the hell's wrong with me? That stuff at the bottom is selfishness is going to kill me. It says, how do we get past that? The next thing it says, God makes that possible. At the bottom of that paragraph or the page there where it says, I don't know what it says. I didn't bring a book with me. But it says this is the how and the why. But first of all, we had to quit playing God. It didn't work. And then it says, next we decided. Here's the decision in step 3. Bottom of 62. The prayer's the prayer. Here's the only decision I see in all of this reading is here. Right? Next we decided that hereafter in this drama of life, God's being the director, the principal, the Father. Gives us the 3 examples. If this is a decision, how do I want to enter the decision? Really, how do I want to enter this? What's playing God even look like? I tell you what it looks like for me is I'm a victim of all my circumstances. Let me tell you what they've done to me. I'm the hero or the victim of every story I tell. I'm never just an innocent bystander watching some stuff happen to Shannon, right? I mean, I'm a victim coming here. If I'm going to quit playing God, the victim's got to go, right? Chapter agnostic said, I live in a self-imposed crisis. Third step says, my problems are my own making. You get over into inventory, it says, I had to be convinced that self manifested in various ways was what defeated me, right? I got to quit being the noticer and seeing where everybody else is screwing up around me, wanting to judge everybody. If I'm going to quit playing God, that stuff's got to be out the window too, I would imagine. I got to quit keeping score on everybody. Guy did it 3 times last week. Guy drank 2 cups of coffee, didn't put any dollars in the basket. That one guy takes all our damn CDs and never puts anything in the jar in the back, right? I mean, that guy. I got to quit keeping score. All that stuff's rooted in self and judgment and ego. All it does is separate me from you and me from God. Right? I got to quit assigning roles and putting expectations on everybody to be a certain way for me to be okay. You know, if my peace, love, joy, serenity is always based on circumstance and the people around me being a certain way for me to be okay, I will never be okay. You know, there's a place to get to here that is past all the noise with that stuff. This third step prayer, I believe the prayer puts teeth into the decisions, what I believe. And I meant the third step when I took it with my current sponsor. I took it with him almost 7 years ago. You know, that prayer, you know, it says, God, offer myself to thee, right? And give myself to him. God, offer myself to thee to build with me and do with me as thou wilt. Which to me is, I'm giving myself to God for him to do with me what he wants. Which translates to, my life's not my business anymore. My life's not, I mean, people say kind words to me all the time. Some of you tonight have came and said kind words to me. There's no illusion in my mind of what's happened in my life. People say, well, I don't want to blow your ego up. Ain't worried about it here, man. There ain't no line of crap you can give me that'll make me think I've had anything to do with this. You know, that prayer, God, offer myself to thee to build with me and do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me the bondage of self. Not necessarily for my benefit, right? Relieve me the bondage of self that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, not necessarily for my benefit. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help with thy power, thy love, thy way of life, and I do thy will always. So he takes my difficulties away from me so I can bear witness to you of what he has done. He gets 100% of the credit for that in my life. I take credit for the mistakes. That's all me. I get some good ideas sometimes, you know. But he gets, I mean, it's only through grace and mercy I have anything. If life was fair, we'd all be in prison or dead. You add up all the DUIs and possessions and the fights, hell, they never let us out. If they all knew what we've done, right? You know, I think it's important to point out in that prayer, there's not an amen at the end of the third step prayer. It's open-ended. It doesn't close. There's no close to it. You get the always it's done. And I said in AA for years, listen to the third step be watered down. It's just a decision. No big deal. Decision to do the fourth step. Decision to be in AA. Decision to be sober. 3 frogs. I don't talk about that. But, you know, all that stuff. You read the sentence after the prayer. It says, we thought well before taking this step, making sure we were ready, that we could last abandon ourselves utterly to him. The word utterly means completely, and him is God. This is about complete abandonment to God, which sounds like a pretty big deal to me. Might just be a decision to somebody. I don't know. It's a big deal. It better be a big deal. My whole life hinges here. I'm the ABCs guy, right? My whole life hinges here. You know, my sponsor said you need to mean it when you say it. You got to bring the surrender with you into inventory. You'll pull up short. You won't do inventory. You go back into self-reliance. You'll be busy and the kids and work and all the other crap. And I ain't got time for inventory. And I won't do it. And I won't make it here. Some people hang out a long time. Where you at? Writing inventory. Writing inventory. 4 step. 4 step. After a while, you don't even ask them, right? You know, what's it worth to you? You know, you get into inventory. You know, I love that stuff on 4. You know, where in our book it says resentment's the number one offender, right? It's the granddaddy of them all. It says it destroys more alcoholics than anything else, right? Even booze. From its stem, all forms of spiritual disease. The word disease is only used one time in our book. We throw it around here all the time. choose one time in our book. Bill calls it a spiritual disease. He calls alcoholism a sickness, an illness, a malady. The only time he says disease, he says a spiritual disease. So we've not only been mentally and physically, we've been spiritually sick. And then the great promise has changed my life forever. It says when the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. 5.5 years sober. My sponsor's a man named Mike M. from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He read this book to me over the phone. And I remember him reading that to me. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. I just made a will out a month before. I've got secondary progressive multiple sclerosis. At that time, I can't walk. I'm using 2 canes to walk, and I can't really do that. I can't talk real good. I can't keep up with conversations. I can't go pee. I've got a lot of problems in my body. My neurologist says you need to get your house in order. Usually at this point, we take people off the MS meds, and if you want some Xanax or pain pills, we could probably do that for you to be comfortable. I was 33 when he told me that. 5 years sober in AA, I can't believe this is happening to me. I'm GSR in my home group. I'm going to jail. I'm going to prison. I'm sponsoring 10 guys. Why is this happening to me? I can't even check the fucking mail, right? Can't even walk and check my own mail. I can't mow my grass. And this man reads that to me that day. And I thought, surely that wouldn't work with this problem. Surely not. We get into that inventory process. Our book says we listed people, institutions, or principles with whom we were angry. He said, that's real easy. If I've ever been mad at you once in my entire life, you go on the list. I never heard nobody say that. I said, really? I thought you just write the people you're pissed at today. That's what I always hear in the meeting down at the club. I got 8 or 10 today. He says it doesn't say with who we are angry. It says with whom we were angry. I'll be damned if that ain't exactly what it says. I never heard nobody say that though. He broke down people, institutions, and principles for me. People and institutions, I kind of knew what that was, but principles. Talked about values, belief systems, and what we think about ourselves. I come here with a lot of screwed up belief systems. I hate lots of different races and religions and sex stuff and political stuff. And I've got belief systems I'm hanging on to for years. I hate entire races for no reason, right? I hate entire states for no reason. And I never heard nobody talking about those things. The things we think about ourselves. I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm a piece of shit, I'm a loser, I'm a drunk, I'm a drug addict, I'm a whore. I don't know why talking about those things as principles to bring into inventory. The prayer work. He said, if all you're going to do is write, don't bother. If you're not willing to do the prayer work that accompanies this process, don't even start. Don't waste your time. He said stuff like, let's be obedient to something for once in our life and just do what it asks. If we're going to do AA, we might as well do AA. What is Alcoholics Anonymous? I feel like you came to AA tonight, came to the Alcoholics Anonymous tonight. In the beginning, Alcoholics Anonymous is the title of a book. I believe in that book. I bet my life on that book. The fellowship took its name from the book. I'm a big book guy. The third column stuff, the prayer work in the second column, the third column stuff changed my life. He called it the 7 areas of self, and he pointed them out. Self-esteem, pride, ambition, security, personal, sex, pocketbook, and he explained to me what that stuff was. Ambitions are what I want to do. Anytime I got angry my entire life, or I didn't do what I wanted to do, my ambitions were threatened. Every time I've been mad, my security is on every one of them, because I needed you not to do what you did for me to be okay. Right? Any family member, friend, coworker I've been angry at, our personal relationship is damn sure threatened. Shannon's talking trash around the corner after the meeting, which he might be doing. I don't know. I don't want to be friends with him no more. I don't even like him anyway, really. My personal relationship's threatened in that anger. You know what I'm saying? And for years in AA, I had sponsors giving me this fourth column, my part. My first book, I wrote it in with the pencil. Fourth column, my part. And again, I'm not trying to come to nobody's, whatever you do, if your sponsors do, whatever. I'm just going to share my experience with it. The problem I have with fourth column, my part, is it does not exist in our book. It's something we made up. I believe to make it easier, honestly. If I got a part and you got a part, I'm screwed. How could I ever take ownership over something that I don't have complete ownership of? Right? You know what our book actually asks, and this changed my life, what our book actually asks us to do at the end of the resentments, concerning this judgment, this anger, this unforgiveness, resentment, whatever the word you want to use, where had I been? Where had I been selfish concerning this, dishonest, self-seeking, frightened? Where was I to blame? We got this all down in front of us in black and white, and it even tells us when to write it. My part compared to selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, frightened, that's pretty weak. And see, I've never been able to take ownership over real resentments, deep-seated stuff. You got raped, you got beat, you got molested, some kind of incest shit. You got some real stuff going on here. My part, your part, I've never been able to get free that way, because I wouldn't have done what I did if you didn't do what you did, so it's your fault. And I hear the pray for them for 2 weeks to get good stuff and it'll go away. With real stuff, I've never had that happen. Maybe the kid that beat me up in 3rd grade, I don't give a damn about that guy today. I don't even remember his name. But I remember that other kid in 3rd grade that came over and spent the night with me. I remember what he did to me. How do you forgive that kid? When I got drunk at 15, that other stuff, how do you forgive that stuff? I've never been able to take ownership over any kind of anger or judgment any other way than following the process in our book. This stuff in 3rd, where had I been selfish concerning this act that happened with me? I don't know how real we want to get tonight, but there's a part of me like the attention. Honest. I can't hardly tell you that. I can't believe I'm telling you that. Where had I been dishonest? I didn't tell nobody what happened. Kept it inside, taken it to the grave. Where had I been self-seeking? I start seeking out places to be abused where nobody will see it because I don't want to get in trouble and I don't want nobody to know. Where have I been frightened? I don't want to be gay, I don't want to be weird, I don't want my parents to know, I don't want anybody to know, I don't want girls, I don't want anybody to know this has happened to me. And where am I to blame? My number one offender on back inventory for me is I put expectations on people to be a certain way. When they don't hit the mark I set for it, I judge them and I hate them. I want to kill them the rest of my life. And I can have it. I'm not going further with that. I can have a deep conversation. Anybody wants my number, you come up and get it. I'll talk to you about all of it openly. There is a path. I don't hate anybody today. I'm not angry. You know, where you can cancel the debt where they don't owe me nothing. They don't owe me an apology. They don't owe me amends. They don't owe me explanation. They don't owe me shit. My spirit is square with their spirit. Whether they got stuff towards me is not my business. I put playing God here. Not my weight to carry, right? See, I don't need anybody to change today for me to be okay. I don't need anybody to do something or not to do something for me to be okay. There is a place, there is a peace to be found here most will never know, but it's available to everyone. A place beyond the noise in my mind. A calmness. I can't describe it. It just feels amazing. It feels love, happiness, joy. I don't have a word for it. It just feels good. And I can go there. And we talk about overcoming spiritual malady here. The fear inventory changed my life. Because in our book it says, we ask ourselves why we have these fears. It wasn't because self-reliance failed us. Very important for me to see that. To see that every time I become afraid and I get scared and I'm frightened, that it's my own fault. I don't have trust and faith in God and my higher power. He's got me and everything's going to be okay. I try to handle my business and react to shit. And I become afraid. And I think it's your fault. Right? I think it's you. I'm going to make a point here that I pray I always make this point every time I get to talk from the podium. And we're talking about taking ownership, right? To be free, to forgive and cancel the debt. If every time I've been mad my entire life, something was threatened in the 3rd column, one of those 7 areas of self we talked about. If every time I've ever been mad, something was threatened, and every time something's threatened, I have fear, and every time I have fear, it's a result of self-reliance, and in fact, is my own fault. My part, or my role in my entire life, this whole mess of shit I bring to AA, is 100% all of it because it lives here. It's only in my own mind. It's my anger, my judgment, my unforgiveness, my fears. You do not have the power to make me angry. You just don't. And with that being said, if anything I've said tonight threatens you in any way, you think, the hell with that guy. Third step's just to see they got Oklahoma shit. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Either way, it doesn't have anything to do with me. I hope I made that clear. We're talking about freedom here from the bondage of the self, right? We're talking about overcoming spiritual malady. If it's their fault, I'm in trouble. If I can't take ownership, I'm never going to be free. And my ego can never say that I'm wrong. Right? Let me tell you what the speaker said Saturday night. You believe this crap? You know what I'm saying? That's the way the ego always separates me from you and me from God. Always been, it makes me the special case. You don't understand. Spirit always brings us together, right? It always brings us to love. It brings us to unity. Conduct inventory changed my life. I got about 7 minutes left here. Conduct inventory changed my life. That I saw how selfish I had been to feel better. How I've been using people my whole life. I sponsor about 20 women. Let's not act like it's black and white, men and women here. I know exactly what goes on in that stuff. We've been using this to get what we want our whole life. To manipulate others. To control. To use them to feel better. And what's the result of that? I hate myself. I hate myself because I know damn well what I'm doing here. Maybe it is delusion though, it could be. But the thing is, when stuff's brought to light, you can't claim ignorance anymore. You write inventory, you fist step that stuff that comes out, you can't act like you didn't know that was hurting anybody anymore. You know what I'm saying? This is the stuff I'm bringing into 6 and 7. These things I've admitted was objectionable. That I'm asking the willingness to let God take me to better things, inspire me to greater heights with these things. Our seventh step, we ask for strength. Grant me strength. It's like, I'm here to do your will, right? Your bidding. I need strength to live this life that He'd have me live. The amends process changed my life. That sponsor that took the 4 steps so serious, fixing to tell you what he did next. He said, when you get back to Oklahoma, I want you to write out an 8-step list. And this list was 5 times bigger than any other 4. If I ever been mad at you, this is 350 people, institutions, like that kind of list, I want you to make a list of everybody you've ever harmed that's on there. If you've harmed them in any way, if you already made an amends, you feel good about it, they don't have to go here. If you're not sure, put them on here, let's talk about it. I come through that inventory, coming up on 6 years sober at that time with another 94 people I had not made amends to yet. I got it all written out. I said, I got it done. I think it's solid. Okay. The 8-step says, it's probably up here somewhere. 8-step says, there made a list of all persons that we'd harmed, came willing to make amends to them all. He said, what do you think they mean by to them all? I said, hell, I don't know. What do you think? He said, what if to them all means to them all? Jeez, I got the wrong sponsor. It's kind of crazy. What about living amends? Don't believe in it. Live in a spiritual principle way of life, that stuff will work itself out. His idea of amends was, if I harmed you, I owe you. If I harmed you, I owe you. Now I got busy on those amends. And by August of 2015, I'd made half those 94 amends. To date, I've made 90 out of 94. And I ain't gave up on the last one. I just got a stalker app the other day trying to find these people. These background deals. I ain't giving up. I think they don't exist, though. Maybe I dreamed it. But by August of 15, I made half those 94 amends. I put both the canes I was using to walk up on the coat rack of my living room. And I haven't used the cane to walk for over 6 years. I went back to that neurologist that told me I was going to die December of 14, a year later. And he says, I can't scientifically explain what's happened to you. There's no way you could have gotten better. The reason I'm here tonight is because I gave a talk in January of 2020 at this podium, and it was recorded. And there was a guy in the crowd that knew another guy that had MS. And I sat out, thank God I smoked, because I haven't smoked. He said, I got a buddy that's got MS. Could I give you your number? I said, hell yeah, give my number. The guy calls me the next day. I spoke at Shannon's group anniversary the next night in Haddonfield. He asked for sponsorship, and on the trip home, I had a layover in Charlotte, and I interviewed him, did the Chapter 7 stuff in Charlotte. The next day, we got to work. This man went through this process. He'd been bedridden. He'd been in a wheelchair for many years. And after he fist stepped, I think a few days after his fist step, he danced for the first time in 9 years. I think having some health issues, I would have never known how true that was, that my mental and physical health was so tied to my spirit. That if I could get this stuff cleared out inside of me and I could have full access to the full power of God, what could ever be impossible with access to power like that? You know, the 10 and 11 disciplines, just talk a little bit about that. I'm about to wrap it up here. You know, I was sober 3.5 years before I even knew page 84 existed. I always thought the 10th step was a nightly inventory. That's how I was kind of, got to do a 10th step. You do a 10th step every once in a while when you really need to, which means never. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it's presented to me. I got the workbook, checklist. I got the defects, principles. I got all kinds of crap. But I never seen what was on 80. I never seen the discipline of it. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment. When these crop up. Not if, but when they crop up. And it gives direction. In our book and process and in our principles and our step work, the first action is always towards God. It's always towards prayer. It's not call and response. It's not putting a Facebook, I'm really in trouble, I need attention. Not pointing any fingers. Not you. But our first step's always towards God in our process. You know, we ask it to be removed. We talk to somebody. We make amends quickly. 10th step in the step, it says the word promptly. We only get one shot at promptly, which means now. And we clean it up. You know, the 11th step, which is where our nightly review is. It's on 86. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Now, I'm a believer in nightly review. Anybody I sponsor, Chris and Joe, they do them every night. I believe in that. I take the book at its word. When we retire at night, to me means every night I'm alive. When I'm done with the world, I write nightly review. I told you I haven't used the cane in 6 years. I haven't missed a nightly review in 6 years either. Not one night. And I don't tell you that. It's not my victory. I already told you it ain't my victory. I just take the book at its word and do what it says. On awakening, how often I got to do that? Every day I'm alive. 10th step says this should continue for our lifetime. Do you want to be free? Really, from this? I mean, there's a place to get here most people don't know nothing about. Real freedom. Doesn't mean life doesn't happen. Doesn't mean you don't have problems. Don't mean you never get mad or scared. It's not that. It's not a promise just to become perfect. But there's a path through everything here where you don't have to live that way anymore. It doesn't have to be this horrible struggle and abstinence just trying to look good and sound good in AA meetings. Real freedom to be found here. You know, in our 12th step, and I'm going to talk a few words about that and I'll shut up. You guys run a tight ship here. You know, our 12th step says, having had a spiritual awakening is the result of these steps. Not by a quota of meetings, not by a length of absence of my new monthly chip. It's as a result of the process. Having had a spiritual awakening is the result of these steps. I don't know any way to get around that. I don't know a shortcut to that. Because each step leads into the next one, right? You know, I spend a lot of my life today. I'm on disability. I have multiple sclerosis. I still do. But today, unless I told you I have MS, you wouldn't even know, would you? Doesn't look like it. Look just like you. I got health problems with that stuff, but I can walk and I can mow my grass in the heat today. You know, I spend a lot of my life, a lot of hours of my life, every day and every week, taking men and women through this work. It is my path. It's why I'm alive, I believe, today. It's my niche in Alcoholics Anonymous is that. Doesn't make me any better. I'm not any better than anybody at all. It is not my victory. It's just my path today. You can't compare people. The stuff I've told you tonight, if it threatens your belief systems, I'm not telling you your sponsor's wrong if he's got a different view. Please don't leave here thinking that, because I don't. If what you're doing's working for you, do what you do. You got 10 guys sober and you're doing it this way, do it. Whatever was working for you. But the stuff I talked about tonight is not Josh's opinion on how to do Alcoholics Anonymous. This stuff is printed in our literature and in our book. Our book says that our literature preserves the integrity of the AA message. And if you got questions about any of this stuff, they record this talk. You can get it. You can go and read your big book. And if I'm lying or I'm full of shit, give me a call. I love you.
Let's thank Josh one more time. Thank you, sir. You mentioned, what was it, January 2020? I know you're a real alcoholic because you're like a fine wine. You keep getting better. Don't forget the meeting after the meetings. Hang out with us, will you? And get here early if you can. If you got any questions, we do a big book study every Thursday right up the block, 7:30 p.m. Big book study solution at the Salem UCC Church. Line by line, we try to line ourselves with that and live it and get those results that they promised us, because I'm greedy. I want some of that. Anyway, we got a nice way of closing. It's customary for us to form a line and thank our speaker formally, so we'll do that after the meeting. Stand if you like, and we'll take a moment of silence, and we'll end with the Lord's Prayer if you care to join us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation,